Hello everyone and welcome to today's cryptocurrencies update. Luna craters, that's why we have a lunar crater on the right. Oh, I thought it was so funny. Lessons to be learned. 1. Use stops. 2. Altcoins is playing with fire. 3. My work is wrong till proven right. 4. Do not catch a falling knife ever. 5 is when things start to break down, you got to get out. And that's why we use stops. And I'll show you how this can work. Bitcoin and Ethereum are simply wrapping up their third wave. We have reached the third wave target zone, and it looks like smaller fourth and fifth waves are here. Other cryptocurrencies are reaching their downside targets. So far, so good. Here is my crypto system trading alert. Every day an email is sent out at around 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for a lot of cryptos. One was Luna. On April 19th, my crypto trading alert based on the system I use, which is not Elliott Wave based, but based on price, momentum, strength, trend, all those things, a buy signal. It said buy only a half a position and place a stop at $77. By then, crypto was trading at 95. So that seems like a massive stop, right? Oh my God, what a loss. Well, Luna is now at $1.66. So now you see why we always put a stop in place. If you have difficulties trading cryptos, please sign up for my crypto system trading alert. If anything, it will teach you discipline, when to enter, when to exit, and when to take small losses. So April 19th, long. Okay, what happened on April 27th? Sell signal. We have to sell this position. If you went long, have to sell it. What was Luna trading at? April 27th, $90. How much of a loss did you take? 5-6%. If you did not have a stop loss, if you did not listen to the $77, which was the floor that I said would then reach down to as low as 37, look where we are now. Yes, I'm very surprised. That's your crater. Excuse me. Without adhering to the stop loss, you would have been completely destroyed and have lost all your money. So you have to have stop losses always, because this can happen to everything. Everything in the market can behave like Luna, Bitcoin, Ethereum, everything. Okay, there are no guarantees in the market. Just because I say it's going to go to a certain level doesn't mean it has to stall there. As I always say, the market reserves the right to do whatever it wants to do as long as there's not certain overlaps, because it doesn't owe us anything. That's really the case. So if we reach a target zone and you decide to go long, or always put a stop in place. Just because I say it's most likely going to go to new all-time highs doesn't mean it has to. Similarly, when Luna topped in the target zone, that is where you then lighten up the load, raise your stops, all those things. And that would have prevented massive losses. Very simple. We're in here to make money. We're not in here to be right. I try to be right as much as possible, just as I've been right so far for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the other ones on their downside targets. Once in a while, you can't get them right all the time. So if I do 10 cryptocurrencies, 3 will have a wrong forecast. That's just the way the world works. Anyway, here you had the sell signal. You took a 6% loss on the chin. It prevented you 100% loss. This system is worth its weight in gold because you've managed your risk. If you're stupid enough to only think of your profits, you deserve to lose all your money. This is the difference between pros and amateurs. Amateurs only think of profits. I can't hammer it enough, and I would love to use a lot of explicits because it needs to be hammered home. Think about the risk. If you can't take a 6% risk, you deserve to lose all your money, and I'll be laughing standing on your side. I really am, because you get what you deserve. So what happened to my system? It has been saying stay in cash for the short term ever since. Stay in cash, stay in cash. That's what it did. So if you're in cash, it's the safest position. Nothing happened. Okay, nothing happened. Intermediate term, by the way, has been short. The long term got stopped out at about $60. It was long from 51 cents since August 2020. Okay, so it shows you that even if you have a long-term system, you need to have a stop in place. It was stopped out a couple of days ago for the last 1/4 position. This is essentially headache-free, stress-free trading because you know the system has your back. And yes, there will be losing trades and some will be painful. But if you know that one trade can prevent you a complete destruction of your trade, it's worth its weight in gold. I'm not here to promote my system in the sense, but I want to show you what true professional trading is and what it entails and why you have to have zero opinions when it comes to these markets. Zero. You just trade the signals. It's really stupid. This is for stupid people, okay? You don't have to think. Just shut your brain off. Don't listen to any news. Just execute like robots. Ding, ding, ding. Okay, that's really what it is. And you can see, I don't even know if you can short Luna. These are just trading advices that my system gives. Whatever you want to do, it's fine. But it also shows you do not trade these altcoins unless you're prepared to lose all your money if you don't put the stop in place. Okay, that brings us then to the chart. Let's have a look at Luna's chart. Okay, so a lot of annotations on here because I think this is a fantastic example. A simple entry exit method would have been to use the 200 days moving average. I've always had it on almost every single daily update I do. Use it for your entry and exit systems. Okay, we close above it, you go long, you close below it, you just go short or you close the position. One of the two. Every single time. That's what you do. Look what you got. You didn't get much of a gain, but it prevented you massive losses. You would have sold here at $1.70 and not at $1.20. Target zone is reached. When upside target zones are reached, scale out, raise stops, etc. Can it go higher? Yes, then you just re-enter. That's fine. Okay. Here we went then in this sideways mode where at some point I was wondering if we will get a more complex B wave, but pointed at the 77 level that based on symmetry would target 57. Well, we got there real quick. Then the ideal wave 4 target zone, which is not a fourth wave anymore, I'll go in a bigger picture in a minute, unless it's an insanely deep fourth wave, it's fine, was here. So this would have been, as I said before, this is a low risk entry level, but low risk does not equal no risk. There's always risk involved, so one has to have a stop in place, okay? The stop is then, of course, if you drop below the target zones, right? That's where you put your stops. Will you have some losses? Yes, absolutely. Is it going to be hard to get your entry filled? Probably, because this is panic mode. Either way, always use stops. Regardless what I say, always use stops according to your risk profile. Again, the $77 was the GTFO level. Can't say it hard enough because it would target 57, potentially 33. I have 37 on the slide, whatever it is. That would have already been more than a 50% loss. Nobody in his sane mind is going to sit for a 50% loss on his hands. Okay. And here again, my crypto trading alert went long here and it sold it here. And look what it prevented. Okay, this is worth its weight in gold. I cannot reiterate it often. This might happen to Bitcoin as well. We'll all be out because my crypto trading systems are all on the short side or stay in cash. That said, here's the long-term picture I have for Luna. And it looks like we only did 3 waves up. I have a hard time making this into 5, so we might have done an ABC. That's possible as well. This decline is too deep to be considered still a wave 4. I would have liked to see it bottom at around 42, which was right around here, this ideal target zone. It didn't do it. So again, this is what you interpret with the price data available. When new price data becomes available, you adjust, you anticipate, you monitor, and you adjust. And it looks like we only got 3 waves higher. It happens as well. Okay, so then we adjust it simply. Again, there are no guarantees in the market. If you look for guarantees, I don't know where, this is only 3 waves higher. Is this a wave 4? We don't have overlap with this wave 1 here. This one all the way down here. So it's still possible, but I don't like it. I'm not going to count on this. This is kaput. So we move on. I'll take this one off the table. And we'll simply go to another one, which is, for example, Mara. I'm going to put some of the mining companies back on the table because they start to have some very interesting charts. Again, was I wrong with a wave 4 bottom? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. This was absolutely wrong. There was no fourth wave bottom here at all. It has been a total crater. I based this fourth wave on my interpretation of the long-term chart because we had only done 3 waves higher, and I don't see if I was waiting for this fourth wave, and the current decline is, in my humble opinion, too deep. So for now, I'll let this one be. It happens. And again, this is why you have to have stops. What you do here is you track it, you monitor it, you can see it. Is there a reversal going on? Yes or no? Let the charts come to you. Don't try to buy the downtrends, that type of stuff. You could have, but then you must have very tight stops in place and take those losses if they occur. A 6% loss to prevent a 100% loss is what you have to incur. That's trading, okay? Just to make sure that we're clear about how it works and how you can use my research. Moving on to Matic. Oh, before we get there, here's another chart of Luna. It already here, this is May 6, and I think I showed it, was in a downtrend. Remember, this is the trend is your friend. Why is the trend is your friend chart? Because if you know what a trend is, you know what type of position you should take on. That's, for example, why my system said only go long half a position, because this is not a strong uptrend yet. So even there, if you took 5% of a loss, half a percent means it's not a full position. And then it dropped real quick, absolutely really quick. Okay, so that is why when you know what the trend is doing, you trade it accordingly or not at all. This is why I showed the trend is your friend chart. This is a friendly trend. Here it already started to deteriorate, and that's why I always say it's below the cloud, below its moving averages, not friendly, trade it accordingly, which sometimes means don't trade it at all. Matic the same, right? Bear market setups, failure at the 200-day, continued further weakness. We're now at the 70 cents level. We break it, we're going to 40 cents. There is no sign of letting go. Yes, this can go all the way back to where it came in 2021. And it's done and dusted. That's why we have the high risk, medium risk, low risk entry points. We haven't even reached above $1. So this is also a sit on your hands, wait and see type of cryptocurrency. How do we do with Binance? How are we doing here? I was looking for 260, 270, getting pretty close. Okay, so far so good. And we'll see when we get there if there's a reversal. This is simply a projection. I'm not giving any buy or sell recommendations here at all. This is a projection. If one desires to go long, great, but set your stops accordingly. Always have a stop in place. I'm not going to say where you put them. It depends on your risk level. Maybe you like to take 50% risk. Others like to take 5% risk. It all depends on you. That is individual. How we're doing on Solana. Solana has now reached the support zones as well. A few bounces along the way, but we've reached it. Have we bottomed? I have no signs of a bottom in place. We must break and close back above this downtrend line. That will be the signal. We did know we got the break below 80, and that would target exactly pretty much where we are now. Okay, that's been the case so far. So it's following along nicely, and there doesn't seem to be any let go. So where can we then place the next support levels? Okay, so this is now resistance. And then, of course, next support is somewhere here in this level. And we can even go to as low as here. Okay, somewhere here. Don't be surprised if we get there. I have zero signs that the bottom is in place. You'll be the first to know when I see a bottom is in place. All right, Bitcoin. How are we doing on Bitcoin? Bitcoin has now reached the ideal wave 3 target zone, this one. Looks like we're wrapping up smaller fourth and fifth waves to complete major 3. I think we completed minor 3 of intermediate 3, soon in intermediate 4, intermediate 5. Again, this is the ideal target zone. Doesn't have to bottom in here, but so far so good. Once we bottom in here, somewhere around 28,000, can go to 25,000 if it wants to. Then we should see a bounce. Remember, the bounce should disappoint and then lower again. So the path remains the same. And now we're simply, this is the anticipation. So the anticipated path has been filled in. And now we monitor it to see if we get additional price data available to adjust as we go along. This is not set in stone. This is not the holy grail. This is our initial setup that we look for. This is what we know. We cannot know any extensions beforehand, as we saw with Luna, for example. Those ones cannot be foreseen. That's why you have stops in place just in case. Ultimately, it will require a break back above this green downtrend line to suggest the low is in place. But for now, this still looks like a very good classic impulse pattern lower. Again, I have a little bit of a hard time interpreting these 2 weeks of price action. So once we get further along, I'll be able to elucidate it further. This is down, up, down, up, down. Looks like a 1-2, 1-2 kind of setup. Could be even a 1-2, 1-2, 1-2 type of setup. But then a little bit, the length of the candles is a little misaligned. Oh well, we'll let it play out as it is. I think we're going to wrap up this third wave, then the fourth, then the fifth. So far, so good. Okay, the general trend is the same. We now need to get more data to be able to complete these fourth and fifth waves. Zooming out on the weekly time frame, I haven't moved any of these boxes yet. Question mark was here, is this 1, is this 2? It sure was. We're now in wave 3, now in wave soon 4, and then 5. I think we can get a nice tag here of the 200 week. This is the weekly chart, by the way. 200 week simple moving average somewhere this summer. And then we can start to move higher. Interestingly, money flow is increasing while cryptos or Bitcoin is declining. Can always drop again, but this is interesting. So on a weekly basis, people are apparently buying Bitcoin. Somebody's buying Bitcoin. The weekly chart is quite oversold, which is classic for a third wave. So we had the B wave bounce, which did the bare minimum, ran into resistance, about a 38.2% retrace of all of wave A. Upside disappoints in bear markets. So I still prefer this path to unfold. Without looking at the daily scribbles, the weekly chart looks pretty good. Moving on to Ethereum. Ethereum is doing the same thing quite nicely. I like it. Appears to also be wrapping up smaller fourth and fifth waves. Again, this is the ideal target zone box. It doesn't have to bottom here. It can always extend. Okay, I have no signs of a bottom being in place that would require a break above today's high and yesterday's high to suggest this wave 4 is in. It will be a multi-day corrective rally and then again a multi-day decline. This is not ever correct in time. This is just a anticipated path. It's the anticipated path. It filled in. As I said, once we break below this low, we can see a potential impulse to the downside. It took its sweet time with this setup here, higher, lower, higher, lower, higher, lower, but these were lower lows and lower highs. So I think we're wrapping up fourth and fifth waves. Let's just fill in. The bottom doesn't appear to be in place, in my humble opinion. And then when we break above this downtrend line, things should look much better. Here is the anticipated path on a weekly time frame for Ethereum. Yes, I was looking to the 4000s for a nice 62% retrace, which would be really classic. But as you can see, we only got a 50%, which is right smack in the middle. So far, so good. And we are now, in my humble opinion, in this C wave lower. And the ideal target for this C wave sits somewhere at around 1900. But I wouldn't be surprised if we can go this low here, which is about 1700. Okay, so we're going to keep an eye out on this. The trend remains lower, not higher. It's better to buy in an uptrend than to try to buy a downtrend. Know the difference. That's why the trend is your friend chart is so extremely important, right? Last week, I was looking for this U-turn path. When can we start to see that we have completed? I didn't say the bottom was in. What does it take to know the bottom is in place, that we had to get above the high risk, medium risk, low risk? And we look in the hindsight in the mirror and go, aha, bottom is in place. Clearly no bottom is in place. Clearly, once we start breaking below these moving averages, the trend is not friendly, other than friendly to the downside. So overall, I prefer to look lower. Ethereum and Bitcoin have reached their ideal third wave downside target zones. In my humble opinion, they're wrapping up smaller fourth and fifth waves to complete the larger third wave. We need a larger fourth and a fifth wave yet to come. All the other ones have reached their initial symmetry-based downside targets. For Solana, for Binance, for Matic or Polygon, whatever you want to call it. And Luna is, in my humble opinion, that in the water. It's certainly exceeded all my expectations. But again, so we have, let's see here, we have Ethereum, we have Bitcoin, we have Solana, we have Binance Coin, we have Matic and Luna, 6. If I get one wrong out of those 6 and that didn't bottom where it should, I try to get them all right all the time. And it's not washing my hands in innocence, it's just near impossible. You can't expect perfection. That's just unfortunately the way it is. But that's why we have stops in place. So whatever this schlemiel on this side of the microphone says, have stops in place, always. Stops save your life. If you're not willing to take a 6% loss on the chin, please be willing to see your entire trading account blow up. That's why I always say, trade safely, play stops. With that, thank you so much for listening. Take care, trade safe. See you all on Friday.